Hey everybody, I'm excited to be back sitting down talking about some fights. I know last week everyone was probably disappointed if you're a fight fan. 5 decisions on the main card, the prelims didn't excite much either. The main event was a snooze fest when everyone was hoping that Nunes and Rosenstrike would come out and throw some bombs. Wasn't that. UFC makes it up to us though this week with UFC 259, 3 title fights. The whole card is stacked. And even the prelims had some legends on it that everyone would enjoy watching fight, so don't miss it. Dominic Cruz is on there. There's a few other big names. Before we get into UFC 259, obviously we have Backwoods Picks, something I really enjoy and something I take pride in. Every single week you can ask my buddies, Ian and my brother. Every week I'm invested in the fight off of who I picked. Not only because I want that person to win, but because I want to come on here and brag about how good I am at picking stuff. Hasn't been the case so far. Hasn't been the case so far at all. I went 2-3 again last week, so we were 4-6 going into last week, and then went 2-3, so now we're 6-9 total. Julian Marquez came off and got the W to start it for me, followed by Ricky Simone, who was a pick switch fight. There was like 3 pick switch fights that got switched, so that's why I'm releasing the video also way closer to the fight. Even though I'd like to give it as much exposure as possible, it's so hard because they always are switching the fights around, and anything can change and anything can go. And then followed by Ricky Simone, Ian Heinich. I thought he was going to be able to pull off a win against Kelvin because Kelvin was on a 3-fight losing streak. That was not the case. Kelvin came to keep his UFC job. He did not want to lose against Ian Heinich. And then the co-main event, snooze fest, everyone was disappointed. Alexa Grasso showed up. She looked good. Macy Barber disappointed a lot of people, and that was my pick. And then Gilbert Burns obviously lost as well to Kamaru Usman. Can't win them all, so we're 6-9 on the Backwoods Picks now. Hopefully, I can turn it around on UFC 259. I'm super excited about this fight card, you guys. You guys don't understand. Because to start it off, we have big names, followed by big names, and then 3 title fights. It's been forever since we've been able to have something this exciting. Alright, you guys. UFC 259. I don't even know what to call this. Is it Jan Sterling? Is it Nunes Anderson? Is it Blachowicz Adesanya? Obviously it's Blachowicz Adesanya. But you know what I'm saying? All 3 of those fights are super exciting to anyone who's a fight fan. But before we get to those, to start off UFC 259, Thiago Santos, who's 21-8, will be versing Alexander Rakic, who is 13-2. Thiago Santos not only fought John Jones for the title on pretty much no legs and almost ran away with that title, he's beat the dude by TKO, who's in the main event, Jan Blachowicz. Welcomed him to light heavyweight with a knockout. So Thiago is a beast, but Alexander Rakic is trying to make a run for the title and trying to grow his name. He is a beast, and genuinely, I'm not really sure who to pick in this. I'm gonna go with the young dog and Alexander Rakic, only because Thiago in his last fight he came out a little shaky, and it was his first fight since his leg issues. So this isn't me by any means saying Thiago can't win that fight. Thiago can win this fight. I've just seen a lot more out of Alexander Rakic, so I'm going to go with Alexander Rakic. And then the next fight of the night, Islam Makhachev, who's 18-1, will be versing Drew Dober, who's 23-9 with 1 no contest. Here's the thing about this. Islam Makhachev comes from Khabib's camp. DC and Khabib talked very, very highly about Islam Makhachev. Drew Dober is climbing back up the ranks. Win 2, lose 1, win 1, lose 2. He's a back and forth type of fighter. He's a dog, don't get me wrong. But Islam brings such a complete game with his striking and his wrestling. I'd be a fool to bet against him. So my pick for that fight is Islam Makhachev. And then we get into the big fights. The big time. The things that, if you're a fight fan, when there's a title fight and you're sitting there watching, there's something about it that just feels different. It's exciting. Now, granted, there's no fans, and that's usually the big extra ump. But even then, The first title fight of the night is Peter Yan, who's 15-1, defending his title, and it's Aljamain Sterling, who's 19-3. I think this fight is going to go one of two ways. Peter Yan is a boxer. He doesn't like the grappling. He doesn't like the wrestling. He has really good takedown defense, but he prefers to keep the fight on the ground. Aljamain Sterling is an insane jiu-jitsu guy. He destroyed Corey Sandhagen in the matter, I think it was a minute in their fight, and Corey's a beast. He ripped him up and choked him out. I can't remember if it was can't remember if he like gripped him up and choked him out rear naked, or if it was like an arm bar or a Kimura or something like that, but he definitely made him tap. So if the fight goes to the ground, Aljamain's going to win this. If it stays on the feet and he can't get Peter to the ground, Peter's going to win this fight. But my pick is Aljamain Sterling because his game is so much more complete than Peter Yan. But Peter Yan is a slugger. And don't get it twisted that Peter Yan can't win this fight. And then after that title fight, we go to Amanda Nunes, who is 20-4, defending her title for the, I don't know, I think it's eighth or ninth time. Don't want to be wrong, but it's been a lot of times. Versing Megan Anderson, who is a very, very tough opponent at 11-4. People really think that this is the challenge that she's needed. I'm not buying it, and it's no disrespect to Megan Anderson at all. No disrespect to her at all. It's just the beast that Amanda Nunes is. I've watched her knock off all the greats. Holly Holm, Cyborg, Ronda Rousey. I'm not sleeping on Amanda Nunes in the slightest. Amanda Nunes is my lock for that. And if you want to be honest, I think after that, she might retire, or I think she defends her belt one, maybe two more times, and then she retires. Because she's done everything she can do. She's the greatest woman fighter ever to walk this planet. Maybe the greatest fighter to ever walk this planet. Top 3 for sure. No one can ever say a disrespectful word about Amanda Nunes and what she's done for the sport. Not only for women in the sport, but in general for the sport. She's a beast. So I think she defends her title, and then I think she calls it quits, or she finds a super fight and goes and fights someone from another division and then calls it quits. That's really what I think she does. And then the main event. Don't think the co-main event, because here's the thing, the co-main event could have been a headliner for any other card. The co-main event is a headliner for any other card, but not when there's Jan Blachowicz, who's 27-8, versus Israel Adesanya, who's 20-0, looking to become a double champ. He's trying to take Jan's belt that he just won, on top of holding his belt. I genuinely think, hear me out here, there's two things going on. There's two things going on with this fight for me. Two things. I want Izzy to win. I want Izzy to be the double champ. But part of me knows if I pick Izzy, not only is it possible he gets knocked out by Jan because Jan has power, and Izzy's chin has been tested by Kelvin. So Izzy's chin has been tested by a really smaller guy. So I really think that Jan can test his chin even more. I think if it lasts within 3, Jan can win. If it goes the distance, Izzy wins. So there's a double thing going on. I'm picking Jan not only for the fact that I want Izzy to win, I'm also picking him because I think it's more possible he knocks him out than Izzy wins by decision. That's the two things that I got going into this fight. So my lock for this pick is Jan Blachowicz to stop Israel Adesanya's hope for double champ status and give him his first loss in the UFC or in MMA in general. So I really don't know. All them fights are honestly toss-ups. Every fight on the card is toss-ups. So I could be coming in here next week talking to you guys saying, oh, another week of Backwoods Picks. Or I could come in and I could say that I'm 5-0 and I flipped it and now I'm positive. All I know is that I love making these videos. I love talking to you guys. And I have some good stuff in the works. I'll be having a Apex montage hopefully like a minute and a half, 2 minutes of me just straight beaming people on Apex. And then I want to work on a CS Valorant montage as well. I'll be having some cool stuff coming out. But this is one of my main inspirations, one of my main enjoyments. I love fights, I love sports, and I love video games. And I love all of you, especially everyone who tunes in and likes comparing my picks to your picks. It means a lot to me. It really does. So leave a comment, leave a like. Shoot, edit that out if you could, Walter. Leave a like, subscribe to get notifications for future videos. Comment who you guys got in the description below. All that's appreciated. I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. Until next week or the following week, we'll see, but you guys will see me around. I appreciate y'all. Do me a favor, Walter, and edit out that whole last part.